Well, I always felt that horror films are to cinema what rock and roll is to music. Horror movies are rock and roll. They're in your face, they're impolite, they're loud, they're edgy, they're anarchic. And so it was just a matter of time that rock and roll would sort of invade the horror film. You know, I call it shock and roll. And it's pretty natural that the evolution of rock and roll music in horror would coincide with the evolution of the horror film into sort of a teen phenomenon. And that all occurred in 1950s when the drive-ins came out and became alternative to the television, which was killing the film business. And for the kids who didn't want to sit home with mom and dad and watch Father Knows Best or the Donna Reed Show, they would go to the drive-ins. So Sam Arkoff and James Nicholson decided to make films specifically for that audience, the first being I Was a Teenage Werewolf. So you have this movie where, all these horrible things are going on, and in the middle of it, they go to a party, and all of a sudden, somebody says, "Hey, Jack, why don't you sing your groovy new record?" And they just happen to have a record that they put on a turntable. I guess it was just the music only, I guess the early version of karaoke, and all of a sudden, this guy's singing this song, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo," and it's like, what? And the movie stops, and he sings this song, and all of a sudden, all these girls start doing this full dance routine, and then it ends and it goes back to just being, the angst of the werewolf. But, American International released it as a single. It had minor hit. So like every horror film they did, How to Make a Monster has, you gotta have EWU. I don't know what EWU is, but you gotta have it according to How to Make a Monster.
But if you got EWU, well, you got what it takes.
Blood of Dracula has Puppy Love. All of these films literally stop for this rock and roll moment.
And she gave me that crazy look, and before I knew it, I was really shook. So I drove like mad, and I didn't stop, 'cause I knew that if I did, I might blow the top.
When American International started doing the Beach Party movies, and that became, such a teen thing with the rock and roll, it just sort of crossed over. The Blob has that theme song.
Beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps and glides and slides across the floor, right through the door and all around the wall. A splotch, a blotch, be careful of the blob.
And then from all of that literally comes just a merging of the teen movie, the beach movie, and the rock and roll, and the monsters with Horror Party Beach.
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it down. You're the wind and a wobble.
Horror Party Beach, I can't think of any movie really like it, especially at its time, because it's like two movies having a car crash with each other. Because on the one hand, you have this beach movie where you got the Del Airs, they sing 6 songs in the movie, and they're really good. And it's just like, but instead of Frankie and Annette trying to figure out how to raise money for something or how to defeat this other team in surf competition, they're dealing with these grotesque monsters, that come from radioactive waste. So you have this regular teen beach movie, everything's cool except they do sing the zombie stomp.
Oh, everybody do the zombie stomp. You slam your foot down with an awful stomp.
And then on the other hand, you have all these kids getting mutilated in really violent ways for the time. It's almost like if Herschel Gordon Lewis did a black and white teen beach movie. You can literally go from I Was a Teenage Werewolf in 1957 to Hammer's Dracula AD 1972. And you could tell that Hammer was trying to corner the youth market, because there's a scene in the film that could have been right out of Teenage Werewolf where, you know, they all go to a party, Carolyn Monroe and Stephanie Beacham, all the Hammer starlets, and there's a band called Stoneground there playing. They do a song called Alligator Man, and it's just like a 2-minute scene where this song plays and everybody's dancing. I always wish that Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing had been in that scene to see them doing that too.
Well, they just found the shake of a hand. Well, the time, she don't mind. The very fine man, turning alligator man. Yes, I am.
American International got in the game of rock and roll and horror when they did Scream and Scream Again, because there's a scene in that where they go into a club and there's a band called Amen Corner, and they're singing a song which is the title song, Scream and Scream Again. And literally the movie stops for this rock moment. In the 80s, rock and roll became such a selling point of films. You know, by the time we got Dokken singing Dream Warriors for, you know, Nightmare 3, or Alice Cooper, He's Back, for Friday the 13th Part 6, I believe. Even in the Nightmare on Elm Street films, the murder scenes were almost like MTV videos, set to rock music, that type of flashy lighting. Adam Rifkin and Adam Green and Joe Lynch and I were given the opportunity to make Chillerama. The thing was, we could do whatever we want because we weren't getting paid, you know. But what we knew we were going to get out of this was a 30-minute film that no one would probably ever let us make. You know, I was thinking of I Was a Teenage Werewolf with the Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moe song, thinking of Horror Party Beach, a little bit of the Blob, the Steve McQueen character, which is pretty much James Dean, you know, it's like Rebel without a blob. And so I just put it all together and came up with Teenage Werebear, and it's shot very close to where they shot Horror Party Beach in Malibu, and it literally was my Horror Party Beach.